This is Ian from VOX, and thank you for joining us on our first Out of the Office live stream. So today we are running through the AC10 and a little bit of the versatility of this amp and what it can do beyond what you might think and beyond maybe what you would expect from some of the AC series amps. So before we get into showing off some of that, I want to quickly mention just the audio setup. I'm playing my built Relevator LS directly into the AC10, and just to get the best audio, I'm taking the external speaker output from that into my Universal Audio aux box, and that has a nice Celestion speaker 112 greenback setting on it, which I'm using, very true to what you're going to get from any Vox amp. So that gives a little less interference from hearing my playing or hearing anything else from the mics in the room. So let's get into it. What's great about the AC10 is that it is a little bit more hot-rodded than the AC15 or the AC30 or the AC4. What that means is you're going to get a little bit more gain out of it. It excels really well at higher gain, kind of hard rock settings. So I'm going to show you a little bit of how you can dial in those. This is essentially just the top boost section of an AC30. So we have that 2-band EQ and a digital reverb, which will help us dial in a lot of different settings. So let's start. If I turn down the reverb, I had that up about at noon for that intro. If I turn that down and turn the gain to about 3 o'clock, so a little bit more than 3/4 of the way up, we have the EQ. The bass is set at 9 o'clock, so below halfway, and the treble is set right around noon. And so here's what that sounds like. So that's kind of like, to me, that's the sound of rock and roll right there. And that's got all the crunch and everything you might want. If I dial back the bass a little bit, so now the bass is almost all the way down. You might think this is a weird setting, but the EQ on a top boost Vox amp is very abnormal. You're going to get some sweet spots where you might not expect. So bass all the way down, treble about halfway. You get this nice punk tone. So that's all the chugging, palm muted punk you might need. That's a question that we get a lot on the Vox Instagram when we do Q&As over there, is how do you dial in a nice punk setting? And this is it. That really works on an AC15 or AC30 as well, just turning that bass all the way down. But let's do the opposite and crank the bass all the way up. And the treble's still about noon. To me, this is that hard rock. If I could down tune the guitar quickly, I'd do that. This is going to get you like close to, maybe some Sabbath or things like that. So from there, if we turn the treble up a little bit and turn the gain up. So now the gain is about all the way up. This is kind of an out of control, big rock tone. This is my favorite thing to do with a Vox amp. So if you were using an AC15 or an AC30, you could get some, whether you want it or not, some kind of interaction from the spring when you turn up that much. So you might not use the spring reverb built in if you were really cranking the amp. But what's nice about the AC10 is you have a digital spring reverb. So if we turn this up a bit, I'm going to turn it to about a quarter or a third of the way up, and you'll really hear that you get that nice reverb without it, splashing all over the place. So that is an advantage of the digital reverb in this. So you can hear when I let that ring out, you get a nice reverb, but it's not splashing and interrupting your playing. So that is a big advantage of the AC10's digital reverb. So I'm going to turn that back down a little bit. This is now right above off, but we'll get a little bit of reverb underneath my playing. And I'm going to do something, just crank the bass, treble, and gain. And this will show you the real upper limit of what the AC10 can do, but also a little bit of what that hot-rodded sound will be. So that's the real Vox chime, kind of pushed as far as it can go. It shows a nice thing that I really like about the top boost EQ circuit, which is that a lot of people think that on any amp, or really anything, the spot to start with is at noon. And what you want to do is start in the middle and go from there and adjust until you find, but noon will be pretty neutral. And with Vox, that's really not the case. The treble and bass interact quite a bit. So as you could hear when I had the treble about noon, it was a little bit more full. So this is bass all the way up, treble at noon. And then if I turn the treble back up, it starts to cut a little bit of the bass. So that, like, it shows you how the treble and bass will interact with each other. Let's pull back both of the controls, put bass around noon or a little bit lower, and treble a little bit higher, maybe around 3 o'clock, so most of the way up. This to me is pretty much the neutral setting, although I like an amp that is set to be a little bit more full than some other people, especially when I play a bright guitar like this built. It has some Seymour Duncan humbuckers, and so those are really pushing the top end, especially in the bridge position. So maybe a little bit more of a standard VOX setting is going to turn down the bass a bit. So right now the bass is about 10 o'clock and the treble is about 3 o'clock. So if you're just joining us, we are walking through the AC10, and I should let you know that I'm playing my built Revelator LS into the AC10 directly, and then this is being recorded through my Universal Audio aux box set to a Greenback 112 cabinet, so pretty true to what you'll get in a VOX amp, although the AC10 has a 10-inch speaker, but you know, this is the cleanest way that I could record from home. So let's dive a little bit more into some of the lower gain settings on the AC10, and then maybe we'll answer some questions if you guys have. So leave them in the chat. I'm keeping an eye on that, and I can answer anything that you guys might need to know about the AC10. So like I was saying, this is about the average setting. This is where I would set things to be, you know, the starting point. This is kind of the classic VOX sound. From here, I will turn up the reverb a little bit, and we can show, you know, some of what the reverb will sound like on a lower gain setting. So that is, really nice for someone like me who likes a little bit of crunch when they're using delay and reverb, a little bit of breakup from the amp. But if you're someone that is more into the pedal platform, super clean amp, super neutral amp, the AC10 is really perfect for that. So let me dial it back just a bit and show you that. So that is the gain right around noon. This is sort of the halfway point. We can dial it back a little bit more and then turn the reverb and bass up a little. So now reverb is at noon, bass is at noon, and treble is a little bit above noon. And this is kind of your classic clean VOX setting. So that's really that chime that VOX is known for. So this is probably what you're looking for in a VOX amp if you want to use pedals, and this will take a lot of things, right before the amp. Really no need for an effects loop, and if you use a boost, you'll be able to push it right into that breakup, which is really nice to have a little bit of extra gain because this has low headroom, so you put a nice loud boost in front of it and that'll totally bring you into some tube distortion. So from here we can really bring up the low end and turn down the treble to get a little bit more of a flat, a little bit less of that chime setting. So if you play jazz, this is a really nice setting, very warm guitar, especially if I go to just my neck pickup. And that shows you really the range of an AC10. Through the past 20 minutes, we went all the way from pushing high gain back to this clean jazz tone. So if you're just joining us now, we are playing through the AC10 and going through some of the settings. I'm playing my built Relevator LS guitar directly in. The VOX AC10 is being recorded through my Universal Audio aux box, which is set to a greenback 112 cabinet, which is very similar to what you're going to get from any Vox amp, even though the AC10 is a 10-inch speaker. It's really true to how it sounds in the room. And that's just to give you the cleanest audio. So if you guys have any questions, feel free to drop them in the chat. And if not, I will keep playing and keep showing you some settings. So while you guys are leaving any questions that you might have, one more thing I want to show, just to show some of that versatility from the AC10, is approximating kind of the tone of putting a fuzz pedal in front of it, and without using any external gear. So just my guitar and this AC10, no pedals, and we're going to get kind of a fuzz pedal tone. So what I will do is turn that gain all the way up again, turn the reverb down, turn the bass all the way up, and the treble is set to a little bit below noon, and we get this sort of classic lower gain fuzz kind of tone. So that is a neat way to maybe get into some of those settings if you don't have any fuzz pedals and you need to record a part like that, or you just want to mess around with the amp that you have. So again, that's turning the gain all the way up and the bass all the way up and turning the treble back to under noon. And you get sort of a vintage fuzz, maybe around the fuzz face kind of range type of sound from just the AC10. So that's neat. Anthony is asking in the chat, is there a chance that Vox will release a 210 AC10? What Anthony's asking about is back in the 60s, there was the AC10 Twin, which was a 210 AC10, because the AC30 was really above what the average guitar player was needing for shows or recording. So the AC10 with its lower headroom and slightly quieter, but with two speakers, made it kind of perfect for that perfect in-between of what the guitar players needed back then. Now we have mics at venues, so you can mic up your amp. Artists are touring with AC15s or even AC10s. So the AC10 Twin is not something we necessarily need anymore, although they are neat. So it's not on the horizon at the moment, but maybe if the need from players changes, or if we eventually feel like doing something fun and vintage, that could be a possibility. But right now, like I said, It sort of was an answer to a question of the 60s, and technology with being able to mic at venues and things like that has answered that. So thank you for that question, Anthony. And everyone else who's just joining us, if you want to ask any questions about the AC10, feel free in the comments. If not, I will just keep showing you tips and settings I like. So this is a low gain setting, but with that bass turned all the way up, and the treble most of the way up as well. So this is not quite going to get you that big fuzz or broken up tone, but it will give you a really full, right on the edge of breakup kind of tone that I'm a big fan of. So another way we can get a setting like this is if we turn the gain up. So now it's set about 2 o'clock, right past noon. And I'm going to turn the bass down to about the same. So this is without touching my guitar at all. A lot more breakup. But what I'm going to do is see if I can show you this. I'm going to roll my volume back to about 6. And now we're in that same range. We're getting some of the same tones, which is really nice for those of you who are looking for a 2-channel amp but really want the VOX sound, because these amps do not have channel switching in the way a lot of other amps do, but because the way the preamp is set up, you have a lot of flexibility with just your volume knob. So again, this is all the way up on my guitar. So that's a really nice, that kind of encapsulates the versatility of the AC10 in one quick setting. Just how much range you can get from only adjusting your volume knob. So for those of you who are just joining us now, we are talking about the AC10 and the versatility of settings you can get from it. We've walked through really high gain settings, getting into kind of like classic heavy metal like Sabbath and things like that, with a lot of low end and a lot of breakup. I also showed a punk setting with a lot of breakup but a lot less low end for tight kind of palm muting type playing. And now we're looking at some of the lower gain settings and the versatility you can get from those and your volume knob, as well as from the digital reverb that is on the AC10 as opposed to the spring reverb that is on the AC15 and 30. So if you have any questions, feel free to leave them in the comments. I see a few things coming in, but ask away. And if not, I'll keep answering my own questions by showing you settings that I like. So turning the bass down from there and the reverb down. We're in this really classic setting like I talked about earlier. But if I turn the volume down from here, we're in that chimey edge of breakup territory. Which is really nice because I can play some very pretty or open chords. Get sort of that ambience from the reverb, and then turn up my volume knob. And I'm back to these big rock tones. And because it's a digital reverb and the gain is not interacting with that physical spring, that means the reverb sits behind these higher gain settings a little bit, which is nice to have more noticeable reverb when you turn down and less noticeable reverb when you're playing big and loud. So that gives you a little bit of flexibility there. One thing I like a lot about the digital reverb. So Jamie is asking in the chat, is the AC4 TV discontinued? And the answer to that one is yes, because we have the AC4 C1 112, which is a great little AC series amp. It actually might be my favorite of the AC amps because you can really push it hard, or you can get it to clean up, but with, all within that bedroom playing level or recording level, if you're not at a big studio. So I have an AC4 C1 112 at my house right now. So if you all be sure to keep an eye on our Facebook and Instagram, we will be advertising, letting you know about more of these streams in the future, one of which will be with the AC4 C1 112. I believe we'll be doing these every week at the same time slot. So just keep an eye out for that and wait to see which week will be the AC4. And I can show you a lot of what makes that AC4 C1 112 so great. So yeah, that is the answer for you, Jamie. Oh, Jamie, that's very nice of you to say. But like I said, I think the AC4 C1 112 is a nice improvement over what the AC4 TV did. But I'm glad you are liking your AC4 TV. And for all of you that are watching, you can either leave a comment with a question, and I'll try to answer them all. Or if you don't have a question, but there is a VOX amp you're dying to get some more info from, like this stream, let us know. We're planning more of these out of the office streams, and we'd love to have your input on what to do next. And if you're just joining us now, I am playing my built Relevator LS through the AC10, just direct in, no pedals or anything else. You're hearing the AC4 through my Universal Audio aux box, which is set to a nice Celestion Greenback 112 combo type cabinet, pretty true to the VOX amps, although this amp has a 10-inch speaker what you're hearing is very similar to how you would hear an AC10 in the room. And the most problem-free way we could get you this audio from my bedroom. So. So Jamie asked, can the amp twang for country? And it absolutely can. You will see a lot of players in Nashville and a lot of players who play in country bands using AC10s or AC15s and AC30 S1s. Usually they don't quite need the power of an AC30 or, all of the loudness and crystal clear settings that it'll give you. So let me dial in a nice country setting. We got pretty close to this earlier when I was showing a jazz setting. I have the gain set fairly low, and that jazz setting I had the bass fairly high. What I'm going to do now is set that to about 10 o'clock, so just below halfway. And I'm going to set the treble to about 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock, which will give us that nice twang on top of the classic VOX chime. And I'm going to turn the reverb down to just a tiny bit. And now I need to turn the amp up because we turned it down. So I am not the world's best country player. But that is about where I would put a country twang setting. And the AC10, like I said, is perfect for that. If you are playing in a country band and you're only playing small bars or maybe a small club, the AC10 will definitely get you what you need to play live. The benefit of the AC15 in this situation will be two things. You'll have a little bit more loudness compared to the AC10, as well as you'll have the spring reverb, which could be a benefit or not, depending on your tastes for country. The spring reverb will give you a little bit more of that splash or drip that some players look for, where the AC10's digital reverb will stay nice and clear. So... So, like I said, I'm not the world's greatest country player, but I can play you a little countryish folk. That's a Kurt Weill tune that I love called Bass Ackwards. And so that brings me to a nice, not necessarily specific to the AC10, but a nice tip that I never really thought of until I saw Kurt Weill playing live. And he's an artist I love. Plays some nice country-ish folk, a little bit lo-fi in there. And he actually plays, or at least at one point played, I'm not sure if he still does, his acoustic guitar into an AC15. And rather than playing into an acoustic amp or a DI direct into the PA, he was playing into an AC15, which is going to give you a little bit of that chime and a little bit of breakup and a little bit of reverb if you want to add that, which really gave his acoustic guitar character compared to going direct or something like that. So that is a nice thing. I've since tried it with an electric acoustic I have, and it sounds neat. So if you are looking for an interesting folk or country sound, try your AC amp or any VOX amp with your acoustic guitar and see what happens. So I'm going to turn the reverb down a little bit, the gain up a little bit. So that's kind of where I like to sit with clean settings. You still get that twang for country, but you get a little bit more of that breakup, just like a little character. You're not hearing distortion quite yet, but we get a little bit of the top end sizzle that EQ might not get you, but a little bit of preamp or power amp tube saturation is going to get you there. So that is where I like the country settings, and I hope that was helpful for you, Jamie. And Danny, I'm glad you enjoyed hearing some Kurt Weill. That's one of my favorite songs to play. So I'm glad I had a reason to get it in there and bring up that story of the acoustic guitar and AC amp, something I really like. So if you are just joining us now, we are talking AC10. I've been going over some of the versatility of the amp. We've seen really high gain settings. We've seen low gain, jazzy settings. Now we're onto some country, and we've seen that middle ground where my guitar volume makes the world of difference about how much breakup we get. And how we're getting this sound is my built Relevator LS directly into the AC10. The AC10 is going from the external speaker jack into my universal audio aux box, and that is on a Celestian Greenback 112 setting. So that'll get you some nice voxy tones, pretty true to life, though the AC10 does have a 10-inch speaker. So that is where we are now, and if you all have any more questions, I'm happy to answer them, and if not, I will play a little bit more and then start to wrap things up. So I need to tune real quick. That seems to be falling out of tune. So while I tune, I will answer Andy's question about why not show a second camera with the settings. And that is something that I am hoping to implement by the next time we do an out of office stream, hopefully next week. But I am working out of my office at home and using what I have available to me. So unfortunately, it wasn't able to happen this time. So hopefully, we will have a little picture-in-picture thing showing you all the settings next time. Sorry, my guitar is really falling out of tune right now. Um, so I apologize for that. And we are kind of hitting close to the hour mark. So I'm just going to, once I get this set right, unless you all have any more questions about the AC10, I'm going to finish up, play us out a little bit, and then we will see you at the next stream that we do. Like I said earlier, keep an eye out on our Facebook as well as our Instagram. If you follow us on both of those places, you'll be sure to see when the next stream is happening. It should be at the exact same time next week, but just to be safe, be sure to follow us. And if you follow us on our Instagram, we've been having artist streams. This week we have Chris Shiflett from the Foo Fighters, as well as a bunch of other bands, and a great player on his own. And he has been a Vox player for years and is going to be playing on our Instagram live on Thursday night. So that is another reason for you to keep an eye out on our Instagram. So. That is it for the Vox Out of Office session this week. We hope to see you again at the next Out of Office session. Like I said, keep an eye out on our Facebook and Instagram for that. And we hope to see you at our Vox mini sessions on Thursday night this week with Chris Shiflett. So thank you very much, everyone, for tuning in, and we will talk to you soon.